You are watching the Dangerous News Network, news, sports, and politics, where the content is unscripted, uncut, uncensored, unbelievable, and unlike anything you've seen on television or on YouTube. And this is your host, Daniel McFarland. And tonight's topic is going to be about the NBA playoffs. That's right. It's basketball playoff time for the NBA. And tonight, and yes, the games have already begun. But here's my predictions for each of the 16 teams in the playoffs. Let's start with the Western Conference. The number 1 seed is the San Antonio Spurs. The number 8 seed is going to be the Dallas Mavericks. And the San Antonio Spurs, they swept Dallas throughout the season. The San Antonio Spurs, they have a superstar in Tim Duncan, and they have a great support cast, and they have the depth, and they have the Who Breeze too. The Dallas Mavericks don't have as much Who Breeze, but they do have a superstar in Dirk Nowitzki, and they have enough of a supporting cast to make the playoffs. But they're not that great, but you get my picture. And yes, but they did win the championship in 2011. They missed the playoffs in 2013. They're back in the playoffs this year. But the Dallas Mavericks, they got swept in the regular season by the San Antonio Spurs. And I see the same thing happening to the Dallas Mavericks in the postseason. I think San Antonio Spurs are going to sweep their way into the second round. Next up, number 2 seed, the Oklahoma City Thunder versus the number 7 seed. The number 7 seed is going to be the Memphis Grizzlies. Yes. The Memphis Grizzlies, they're a knockdown, drag-out team. They have enough depth to deal with anybody that stands in their way. And their defense is their calling card. They don't exactly have a superstar, but they do have quality players. Something that the 2004 Detroit Pistons had. But let's look at the Oklahoma City Thunder. They have two superstars. Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and they have a damn great support cast. Serge Ibaka, Thabo Sefolosha, and they have a quality bench. Well, I see the Memphis Grizzlies taking Oklahoma City Thunder 6 games, but Oklahoma City Thunder, they have too much firepower in the end. I think Oklahoma City Thunder, they win, but they don't have an easy time with Memphis's defense. Defense wins games. Offense sells tickets. Let's look at the number 3 seed. The Los Angeles Clippers are the number 3 seed, and the number 6 seed is the Golden State Warriors. Lob City, Los Angeles. You got Blake Griffin, a superstar. You have Chris Paul, the best point guard in the NBA. A really big superstar. DeAndre Jordan, a damn good starter. And you have a shooting guard and a small forward that's quality. And you have a bench. You have plenty of depth. Golden State, you have a superstar point guard in Stephen Curry. The only person that I would choose over Stephen Curry is Chris Paul. Klay Thompson, a deadly sharpshooter who has superstar potential. He already has the propensity to score 20 points a game. Harrison Barnes, Andre Iguodala, Bogey. Well, he's out for the series. David Lee, that guy's a poor version of Kevin Love. He can give you 20 points per game and 10 rebounds per game. But let's look at the matchup head-to-head. This afternoon, the Golden State Warriors, they defeated the Los Angeles Clippers. But I think that was just dumb luck. I think, it is going 7 games. I'm predicting this goes 7 games. That was just dumb luck. Without Andrew Bogut, I don't see the Golden State Warriors lasting. They did take today's game. I think that was dumb luck. Without Andrew Bogut, they're going to miss Andrew Bogut. The Los Angeles Clippers take the next 4. They win in 5. Especially with DeAndre Jordan. Now let's look at the number 4 seed, the Houston Rockets, and the number 5 seed, the Portland Trail Blazers. The Portland Trail Blazers, you have a budding superstar in Damian Lillard. You have a damn good support cast. But depth is a question mark. Houston Rockets, you have a superstar 1-2 punch. James Harden at shooting guard, Dwight Howard at center. Patrick Beverly, Jerry Lin, Chandler Parsons. That's a support cast that I could deal with. That's right. And they have a bit more depth, too. I say the Houston Rockets dispatch the Portland Trail Blazers in 6 games. So the second round is going to be, let's see. Come to me. San Antonio versus Houston in the second round. The Clippers are going up against the Thunder in the second round. That's my prediction. Let's look at the Eastern Conference playoffs, the first round. The Indiana Pacers got the number 1 seed. The number 8 seed is going to be the Atlanta Hawks, of course. The Atlanta Hawks, they're fish grease without Al Horford. They really are fish grease. Now let's look at the Indiana Pacers. You got a superstar in Paul George. You have a complete player in Lance Stevenson. A triple-double threat. You have a damn good center in Roy Hibbert. You have a leader in David West. What's missing is a real point guard. But they can they can address that problem in the off season if they don't win the championship. I say the Indiana Pacers sweep their way into the second round. I really don't see Atlanta doing shit. Miami Heat is the number 2 seed, and the number 7 seed is the Charlotte Bobcats. The Charlotte Bobcats, they transmogrified that team from a last-class losing squad. They were a last-class losing squad 2 years ago. They transmogrified that squad into a playoff squad. Now, do they have staying power? Let's take a look. Kemba Walker, he's a leader. He led Connecticut. He led a weak Connecticut squad to a NCAA championship. That's right. Does he have another level? That's the question. They are missing a couple pieces, though. But they do have defense. That defense has been transmogrified. They have a damn good center, too, in Al Jefferson. But they're overmatched against the Miami Heat, unfortunately. Dwayne Wade's a superstar, LeBron James is a superstar, and Chris Bosh is a damn good power forward. He's better than what the Detroit Pistons have anywhere. But let's see. The Big Three is going to sweep. The Charlotte Bobcats might. Who am I kidding? The Charlotte Bobcats, they're swept. Even though they made the playoffs, yes, but they're swept. Simply put. Now let's look at the number 3 seed, the Toronto Raptors against the Brooklyn Nets. That's my upset special. The Toronto Raptors, they have a complete point guard in Kyle Lowry. He transmogrified his game. He's perfectly in his prime. He transmogrified his game from his days in Memphis and became a complete point guard. DeMar DeRozan, that guy's a star. That guy might be a star. Terrence Ross, well, he's unproven, but he's promising enough. Whether he and DeMar DeRozan have another level, that will be the deciding factor of whether Toronto has staying power or not. Amir Johnson, he's a good sixth man, but he's not a starter on a real contending team. Jonas Valanciunas, he's an average starter, but he's not a game-changing superstar. But it really depends on DeMar DeRozan, and it really depends on Terrence Ross. They will be the deciding factor for the Toronto Raptors. But the Brooklyn Nets, they have depth. They're not a slouch. They have depth. Just because Paul Pierce is past his prime don't mean he's worn out. He can still play. Kevin Garnett, he can still play better than most teams. Most teams don't have a player as good as Kevin Garnett. He may not be the superstar he used to be, 6 years ago, but he ain't no slouch either. Joe Johnson's overrated, but he's a damn good player. He's not a worthless player, and Jason Kidd's not a worthless coach either. He had a tough time, but Jason Kidd looks like he might have a bit of staying power. I see the Nets upsetting the Toronto Raptors in 6 games. They have too much depth for the Toronto Raptors. And if Darren Williams, if he's on, it's game over for the Toronto Raptors. And finally, the number 4 seed, the Chicago Bulls, against the number 5 seed, the Washington Wizards. The Washington Wizards, the Washington Wizards. Let's look at the Washington Wizards. You have John Wall. Whether he has another level is going to be a deciding factor on whether Washington has real staying power. Bradley Beal's a jump shooter. Trevor Ariza is a great 6th man on a contending team, a borderline starter. Marcin Gortat, he's a mid-level. He's an average center, but average is all you need to be better than what the Detroit Pistons have. That's the truth. But let's look at the Chicago Bulls. They don't have Derrick Rose to guide them, but they do have a great leader in Joakim Noah. Joakim Noah, he's the leader of that team. Yes. He's not only a leader, he's the 2nd best center in the NBA. There's only one center I would take over Joakim Noah right now, and that's Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard is the only center I would take over Joakim Noah. I wouldn't even take Roy Hibbert over Joakim Noah. If they had Derrick Rose, they could beat the Pacers. That's simply put. The Washington Wizards, they're in trouble. The Chicago Bulls, they're going to win in 5. So let's look at well, that's all we have. Really. The Pacers will be facing the Bulls in the 2nd round, and the Heat will be facing the Nets in the 2nd round. That's my prediction for how the NBA first round is going to go. And that's all I got to say about the NBA playoffs. And I will have updates about how each team did in the subsequent week. And this is Daniel McFarland. Hit me up on YouTube and subscribe. I approve this mess.